Well, hello, Tampa. It is great to be back in the Sunshine State with some great friends like Kathy King, Chairman Joe Gruters, and a great friend of this administration, a Navy veteran and one of the most effective and popular conservative governors Florida has ever known, Governor Ron DeSantis. Governor, thank you for those inspiring words. Thank you for your kind words about our work. But I'm here for one reason and one reason only. And that's because Florida and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. That's right. I'll tell you what. When you look at the leadership this president has brought to the White House, the leadership he's brought to this country, what he's done, I mean, isn't he something? I mean, think about it. 2020 isn't even 3 weeks old. And thanks to the president's leadership, America is safer in the world. The stock market is setting all new records. The first enforceable trade deal with China is on the books. The era of economic surrender is over. And just about an hour ago, the United States Senate passed the largest trade deal in American history. The USMCA is headed to the president's desk. That's what leadership looks like, Florida. And that's the leadership of President Donald Trump. You know, like all of you, I came down here today because I stand with President Donald Trump. When this president stands up for American jobs and American workers, I stand with President Donald Trump. When this president stands up for faith and freedom and the American flag, I stand with President Donald Trump. And when this president, as commander-in-chief, takes decisive action to defend America's soldiers, to defend American lives, we stand with President Donald Trump. You know, 4 years ago, a movement was born. Started right at the bottom of that escalator. You all were part of it here in Florida. It was a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And here in Florida, you believed we could be strong again. You believed we could be prosperous again. You said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know that Florida's going to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump in 2020. Because we've got a story to tell. You know, the last election was about promises made. This election's about promises kept. All right? I mean, seriously. You think about the last 3 years, it's been 3 years of action, 3 years of results. And 3 years of promises made and promises kept, but we're just getting started, Florida. I mean, think about it. Think about it. President Trump promised to rebuild our military, to give our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they need to accomplish their mission and defend this nation, and President Donald Trump delivered. This president has already signed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. In fact, it was just a few short days ago in December the president signed the National Defense Authorization Act. We already know that we have the finest military in the world. They are the finest fighting force ever known on land and sea and air. And because of the president's vision and leadership, we now will ensure for generations that Americans will be as dominant in space as we are here on Earth. The United States Space Force has arrived. You know, and as I travel around this country, you know, I'm your vice president, but the most important title I will ever hold is DAD. And I'm the proud father of a United States Marine and the father-in-law of a United States Navy pilot. And in that vein, I will tell you what, I couldn't be more proud to be vice president to a president who cares so deeply about the men and women of our armed forces and their families. The men and women of our armed forces know they have a commander-in-chief who will always have their back. You know, President Trump, through his leadership and our strong allies in the Congress, has made the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. I mean, think about it. Where the last administration sent pallets of cash to terrorists in the Iran nuclear deal, under this president, we got out of the Iran deal, and we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. And just a few short weeks ago, as the world watched, when one American life was lost at the hands of Iranian-backed militias, President Trump launched the first airstrikes against those militias in Iraq in the last 10 years. He did. And when militants stormed our embassy in Baghdad, this president sent in the Marines. No more Benghazis. And when American lives were threatened by the most dangerous terrorist in the world, President Donald Trump took action, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. And even in the wake of Iranian missile attacks, thanks to the skill and heroism of our military on the ground, we suffered no American casualties, and Iran is standing down. That's what leadership looks like, Florida. That's the leadership of President Donald Trump. So it's about national security, first and foremost, providing for the common defense and the safety and security of the American people. But this president also knows that national security starts with border security. And under this president, we've made historic investments to secure our border, to end the crisis of illegal immigration, and I'm proud to report that apprehensions on our southern border are already down by more than 70%, and we've already started to build that wall. The first 100 miles are done. And to support law and order, this president from day one has stood without apology with the men and women of law enforcement. You know, the men and women who serve on the thin blue line take risks every day. They've got the hard jobs. People that wear a sidearm and wear a uniform. People that run in when others are running out are the greatest public servants in this nation. Just a few minutes ago, after I landed at the airport, it was my great honor to meet the family of a Lakeland Police Department officer who lost his life just last week in a motorcycle accident. He was a proud Marine. He spent 18 years in law enforcement here in Florida. In fact, 2 of his sons followed in his footsteps. One's in the Navy, one's in the Marine Corps. And I want to ask you to remember the Dunn family in your prayers, and let them be assured that America will never forget or fail to honor the service and memory of Lakeland Police Officer Paul Dunn. So it's been about security. It's about supporting our men and women in uniform at home and abroad. And in support of the rule of law in this country, this president also kept his word. You know, as I stand before you today, President Trump has already appointed more than 100 principled conservatives to our courts at every level. And they are all men and women who will uphold the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. You know, today is National Religious Freedom Day. Our founders put religious freedom in the First Amendment because they understood it was our first freedom and a wellspring of strength in this nation. When I arrived at the airport, I also had a chance to meet with some 10th graders from Land O'Lakes Christian School. Apparently, I just met another one. I told those kids to study hard, pray harder. Sky's the limit. But I also told them, on this Religious Freedom Day all across America, the President will make one more announcement today, and you can be confident. This President and this administration will always stand for the religious freedom of every American of every faith. And finally, I have to tell you, I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more proud to serve as Vice President with a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. President Donald Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. So it's been about security, about our liberty, and about our values. And President Donald Trump has been delivering every step of the way. And under this president's leadership, it's also been about three more things. It's been about jobs, jobs, jobs. I mean, it's incredible. On the first day of this administration, President Trump said we could revive the American economy. We've just gone through the slowest recovery out of a recession since the days of the Great Depression. I mean, the most powerful economy in the history of the world had grown by less than 2% for the previous 8 years. And not a real surprise, because they tried to borrow and spend and bail and tax our way back to recovery. But this president had a different prescription. From the first day of this administration, he went straight to work to keep the promises he made to the people of Florida. We cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses large and small. We've rolled back more federal red tape already than any administration in American history. We've unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and we signed the new trade deal with the United States, Mexico, and Canada yesterday that's going to create tens of thousands of jobs, and it's headed to the president's desk. The USMCA just got 89 votes in the United States Senate. Although I heard that Chuck Schumer didn't vote for it. Today he led a minority of 11. 89 votes for the trade deal President Donald Trump delivered. Going to make our economy stronger and more prosperous. Incredible. And the American economy, I don't have to tell you, here in Florida, the American economy is booming. Since Election Day 2016, businesses large and small have created more than 7 million good-paying jobs, including 600,000 jobs right here in the Sunshine State in 3 years. Unemployment's at a 50-year low. The stock market is soaring. And more Americans are working today than ever before in American history. And you know, after years of flat salaries, stagnant wages, incomes are now rising all across America. And what means the most to the president and me is that incomes are rising most rapidly for blue-collar, hard-working Americans. The forgotten men and women of America are forgotten no more. And the American people know it. I got to tell you, Karen and I were taking a couple of days off in Florida not too long ago. We were sitting on a beach. We had ball caps on, sunglasses. Tried to read a book. I think we got like a whole day off. But these two big boys came walking by us. They'd had in the Fort Myers papers that we were down there. And these two big boys wearing Budweiser shirts, tattoos down their arms, big men. They were walking right past us, and one of them looks at me and says, "You're Pence." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he looked at me and he said, it's a true story. He said, "You got to tell the president to keep doing what he's doing." Because he said, "I made twice as much money last year as I made the year before." And I told him I would. And then he took 2 steps away, turned back around, and he goes, "And I don't know what you do, but keep doing what you're doing too." And I told him I would. I mean, it's happening, everybody. It's happening. America's more secure. America's more prosperous. And it's thanks to the president's leadership, and frankly, it's also thanks to the strong support of Florida's delegation in the Congress. And let me thank Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott for the job they've done. Wow. With their leadership in Washington, and with a strong partnership with Governor Ron DeSantis, and with all of your support, we've made America great again. In just 3 years. But to keep America great, we need you to decide right here and right now that Florida's going to vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. I mean, think about it. Think about it. As you go out over the next year and you're telling your neighbors and friends, think about it. I mean, 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more judges. 4 more years means more support for our troops. And it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. Man. Man. You know, the choice in this election couldn't be clearer, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Today you have, love you too. Today we have a president who loves this country. He stands by our military, our workers, and our freedoms. I can tell you firsthand, he never quits, he never backs down. President Donald Trump believes in you, and he fights for you every single day. I see it. I see it every day. And then you got all these Democrats running for president out there. Man. I don't know, did y'all watch that debate on Tuesday night? Yeah, I didn't either. I watched a little bit. I watched the clips of it. You know, I figured there's got to be a vice presidential nominee in there somewhere. But those people were standing so far on the left, I thought that stage was going to tip over. Come on. And you know what? And the people of Florida also deserve to know that every one of the Democrats on that debate stage has criticized the president's decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. Every single one. I mean, Bernie Sanders even called the president's decision to bring that man to justice, in his words, assassinating a government official. Well, I got news for Bernie Sanders. Soleimani was not some government official, he was a terrorist, and President Donald Trump was right to take him down. You know, the truth is today's Democratic Party has been taken over by radical leftists who want higher taxes, open borders, late-term abortion, and socialist policies that would literally crush this economy. And worst of all, after their sham investigation, the Democrats actually voted to impeach our president. And they hauled those articles of impeachment over to the Senate yesterday. You know, they rushed their partisan impeachment through the House in a shameful attempt to just overturn the results of the last election. That's what it's all about. I mean, the president and I were literally not off the stage on Inauguration Day when a major newspaper reported that the quest for impeachment starts today, January 20th, 2017. I mean, you know, the truth is Democrats are trying to run down this president because they know they can't run against this president. They're trying to impeach this president because they know they can't defeat President Donald Trump in November of 2020. I believe it. It's such a disgrace. But don't worry about it, everybody. It's all going to work out fine. House Democrats had their say a little while back. And how about those House Republicans who took such a strong stand? Senate Republicans are going to have their say real soon, but just remember, come November, the American people are going to have our say when we vote to send President Trump back to the White House for 4 more years. You know, the truth is, all the things that we've talked about, what we've accomplished together under this president's leadership over the last 3 years have happened in the midst of nonstop resistance and obstruction. I mean, I served in the Congress for 12 years. I mean, it seemed longer. But even then, it was different back then. People found ways to work together, but it's been like nothing I've ever seen. The obstruction and the resistance. But I'm telling you what, President Trump has never stopped fighting for you, and he never will. And now, Florida, it's our turn to fight for him. It's on. Election year is here. It's on. So we need you to bring all this enthusiasm every day between now and Election Day here in Florida. Florida played an incredibly important role in 2016, as you have in every presidential election in my lifetime and well before. So keep voicing your support. Keep telling your neighbors and friends all that we've accomplished under the leadership of this president. I mean, tell them what they're not hearing about from most of the major media networks every day. I mean, tell them America's safer again. Tell them America's more prosperous again. We've got an incredible story to tell, but we need you all to go all across this state, all across the greater Tampa area, and tell that story to your neighbors and friends. You know, I'll always believe, back in Election Day 2016, that what happened then was that beyond all the pundits, beyond all the pollsters, the American people were talking to each other. I mean, we were tired of being told. We were tired of being told it's as good as it gets. We were tired of being told that America was just one more country in the world. We knew we could be great again. And the American people talked to one another and got behind a president who made America great again. And we got to do it one more time. I mean, I'll always believe the most powerful media in this world is now, and always has been, word of mouth. When someone who knows you and respects you hears from you about an issue that's important to them and their family and to the nation. So let your voice be heard. And in these divided times, as this election begins, be confident and have faith. Have faith in this president whose drive and heart and vision I've witnessed every single day. Have faith in this president that's made America great again. Have faith in our fellow Americans who know that America and Florida can be greater than ever before. And finally, lastly, if you're of a mind, I encourage you to exercise that other kind of faith. Been the wellspring of America's strength since even before our nation's founding. And as we go through these times, as we go through this election year, just have faith that if we will put our trust in Him, who has ever blessed this great nation, He will bless America beyond anything we can ask or imagine, because with God, all things are possible. Have faith. You know, I'm so excited to be with all of you. I look forward to seeing as many of you as I can. I've got a Cuban sandwich waiting for me out in the back. But I won't hurry off. Let me tell you, I stopped at a little place there. You know the one I'm talking about. They said they had an Obama sandwich there. I said, before the end of the day, they'd need to have a Trump sandwich on the menu. I think they will. But thank you all for coming out today, and thank you for your support. It's the greatest honor in my life to be your vice president. I really will. It's what it's about. It's what it's about. Folks, I thank you for coming out. This is all about a president that's been delivering, he's been fighting, and now we got to fight for him. And I promise you, President Donald Trump is a real deal. He's a man who says what he means and means what he says. He gets up every day and fights. I see it. And we're going to keep fighting every day to keep the promises that we made to the people of Florida and all of you. And I know with your continued support, with your enthusiasm and with your voice among your neighbors and friends in every day between now and Election Day, with our strong allies like Governor DeSantis in the State House and our strong allies in our nation's capital, and with God's help, we're going to deliver a great victory. We're going to deliver a great victory in November. We're going to keep on winning. We're going to keep making America safer than ever before. We're going to keep making America more prosperous than ever before. And with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, we're going to keep America great. Thank you, Florida. God bless you. Let's go get it done.